Dr. Kobi Vortman will speak about the operating room of the future. Dr. Kobi Vortman has been involved in the Israeli high-tech and defense industry since 1973. He is a previous member of the EU Information Society Strategy Committee and a current member of the Israel National Council for Research and Development. He received his DSc from the Technion in 1985 in electro-optics. Dr. Vortman is the founder, president, and CEO of InSightec. Dr. Vortman, the stage is yours.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Mr. Sherman, Professors Lavi, Shalev, Aviram, and guests. First of all, thanks for inviting me to talk about InSightec's vision, share it with you, and implementation. This is kind of asking me to compress 14, almost 15 years into 25 minutes, a little bit hard. I'll try to do my best with this. And when we go into this journey of discussing vision and implementation of the operating room of the future, let me start by taking a step back and saying, before we try to replace surgery, let's ask ourselves what's good, what's bad, and can we do it? So surgery is very unique within the medical world, okay? It's unique because when you move to the side and look at it, it is what is called in engineering closed-loop therapy. The surgeon is using vision and palpation in real time and trying to tailor the therapy to the specific patient, specific organ, specific situation. Very, very unique. It's not statistical. It's not like medication or radiation. It is tailored to the patient. Now, the other fact that we need to remember about surgery is that surgery is thousands of years old, meaning, only so we know, skulls were found which are 8,000 years ago with craniotomy, removal of part of the skull, and the patient we know lived after this for many years. How? Whatever, I won't dive into the details. So surgery is very, very old, and if it's so old, there is something good in this, or else it won't be with us today, okay? So remember that surgery is effective, it's good, and we are trying to replace it. Why are we trying to replace it? Because there is one issue with surgery, which is the collateral damage. To use vision and palpation, we need to cut our way to the target. Once you cut your way to the target, in some of the occasions, the damage done is as bad as a disease in some of the occasions. So the whole idea here was to try and replace what I've described before as surgery with something that is completely non-invasive, and could do whatever surgery is doing. So visualize an apple and think about us treating a seed inside the apple without touching the apple. This is what we wanted to do. And do it in such a way that next day you are back to your life, meaning it's not an ongoing process and there is no recovery and so on and so on. A single day back to your life. So we had to replace the scalpel, which, as I've told you, it's we've seen a couple of those here, thousands of years old, and we wanted to replace vision and palpation because the vision and palpation are the good parts of surgery. We can tailor the surgery to the specific patient. So how do you do it? What we have done, we have selected acoustic beam, and I'll describe it in more words in a second, to replace a scalpel. How could acoustic beam replace a scalpel? Acoustic beam is a physical wave, like optics, like everything else, but it's in essence a pressure, a mechanical wave that is vibrating the tissue, okay? The friction between the molecules is transforming acoustic beam into heat. Now, when you raise tissue temperature to a range which is called ablation, the tissue is completely destroyed. So this is it's a thermal scalpel. Now, how could we spare the non-target tissue? Because when you look on this converging beam, at the focus, you have a very high intensity. Outside of the focus, millimeters to the side, you do no damage at all. So we have a scalpel, thermal scalpel, that is capable to treat the seed inside the apple. Now, the question is, okay, how do we know where we treat? How do we know that we really destroyed the tissue? So there is one modality today in the imaging modality that is capable to do it, MRI. MRI, magnetic resonance imaging, this large and heavy and expensive machine, is capable to do two things. A very high quality anatomic imaging, showing you the tumor boundaries and so on, and MRI is capable to do something very, very unique that no one else can do, CT or ultrasound and so on. MRI is capable to do thermometry or thermal imaging inside the body with accuracy which is better than 1 degree. The meaning of this is that if we agree between us, and you need to believe me, that if you take human tissue or organic material, place it in temperature of 60 degrees, in 0.1 second, there is no organic material. Meaning if we had in our homes a cooking machine that could raise an egg to 60 degrees C, in 0.1 second, you'll have hard-boiled egg. No organic material is left behind. Okay. So now combining the two could give us what we were talking about, a machine, a system that will be able to treat inside the body under real-time guidance by MRI and able to assess tissue viability, okay? So the whole concept of completely non-invasive surgery theoretically is possible. When we look on this is the closed loop. Again, the user using this MR thermometry, the user continuously fine-tune treatment parameters to drive this whatever outcome he, she desires. So this is an animation that will show you how the treatment is being done. Patient is moved into the MRI. The whole therapy is done while imaging. If the imaging stops, no energy delivery will take place, okay? So we have continuous, we are grabbing it and looking at it. And here you could see, so you see in this specific implementation, a robotic system below the patient here that moves. This is transducer. This is the element that takes electronic signals and turns them into acoustic beam. Highly focused. Every time we are destroying small part of the tumor, the system accumulates all the data, and the user could add more points and see to this that everything was destroyed. So at the end of the day, we look now on something that is completely non-invasive, outpatient. Next day, you are back to your life, could replace some of the surgeries. By the way, not every surgery, but significant part of them could be replaced by this. We are not using ionized radiation. Ionized radiation, radiation therapy is something with significant long-term toxicity. We are avoiding it. You could treat and treat again. In radiation, you are reaching the maximum dose. Here, it's acoustic thermal beam, so you could treat and treat again if needed and repeat it. And there is immediate improvement, symptomatic improvement whenever is needed. Okay, the other part of operating room is the fact that it's not disease-specific in general. There are operating rooms which are disease-specific, but in general, operating room is serving everyone in the hospital as a central service, okay? This technology is a platform technology. It was designed from day one to address multiple indications and be able to treat it, and you could look on it here. So the first one, we started with what is called uterine fibroids, a benign tumor. And there is a gynecological benign tumor, very symptomatic. A lot of women are suffering from it. The reason we selected a benign tumor was because we knew that with this breakthrough technology to go through FDA, for example, with oncology application day one will be impossible. So we selected this specific indication. By now, close to 10,000 women were treated, and here we are replacing either hysterectomy, which is removal of the uterus, or myomectomy, which is removal of the specific fibroid, the myoma. The second one, where we entered, and by the way, to repeat it, this is FDA approved, CE approved, even Japanese MHLW approved. It's almost globally. The last one is China that we hope to get in the last year. This took, by the way, only to understand the depths of challenges, this took, to bring it to regulatory approval, took something like 6 years of work. The second application took 7 years of work to get it through FDA approval. So the second application was our entry point to oncology, metastatic bone tumors. Again, we selected specifically this indication for multiple reasons, but one of them is that this is what is called systemic disease. By now, you are not fighting on every cell. It's more, I would say, symptomatic, but I'll show you. So from now on, and I'll cover the other side in a second, in the continuation of this talk, I'll show you 2 examples of indications and patient testimony that relates to this. On the right side, you could see breast cancer, you could see liver tumor, and you could see prostate cancer. All of them are in research. This is very unique. Although brain looks the hardest of all, and it is hard, I'll discuss it in a second, there is a specific area within the brain disorders that we addressed as a step 1, and I'll show them immediately. Okay, the first example is talking about bone metastatic tumors, extremely painful to a level that patients at the end of their lives needs to be sedated completely with narcotics. So instead of helping the patient to be with his family, to function, to have a reasonable quality of life, the medical community is pushed to the limit where radiation is not helping, and then narcotics is the solution. We wanted to replace it with a single treatment and the patient back to his life. This is an example. So this scapula in Hebrew is shoulder. Okay, so this is a shoulder bone, and you could see that it's completely destroyed. Look on this side as a reference. And this patient came to us with a pain level of 10. It's hard even to imagine what level of pain 10 is. No pain is 0. 10 is the highest possible. And look on her response to the treatment, meaning this is day of treatment. In 3 days, pain dropped to 5, to 4, to 2 at 14 days, and then it continues. Now, this is one aspect of it. The immediate question is, okay, you addressed pain. What about the tumor? Okay, so here you could see, again, I'm sorry that I'm showing you medical images, but that's life in what we do. So this is the shoulder of this lady. You could see here the tumor. How could you see tumor? We inject contrast material that enhances in the tumor area because the blood vessels are leaky and so on and so on. So this is immediately before treatment. You could see the scapula with the tumor, and you see this black hole immediately after treatment. The black hole means that we destroy the tissue. There is no perfusion anymore. This is dead tissue. By the way, the body removes this dead tissue naturally. Okay, so this is part of the process. Okay, this is patient testimonial, bone treatment.
Hi, my name is Don Langrock. I'm 80 years old and still going strong. We have about 1,400 acres, and we raise mostly almonds. And I stay pretty active to manage the farm. I had a lot of medical issues. Presently, I have melanoma. I had some discomfort in my right ischium. Just sitting on any chair, whether it be padding or whatever, there was discomfort. And even when there was walking, there was some discomfort. Most of this got discomfort when I was sitting down. They do the ultrasound beam on the area that was causing my discomfort. I was sedated, so there was no difficulty during the procedure. And after I recovered, I felt like a very positive feeling where I didn't have any discomfort. I decided to see how I felt on my horse. So I got on the horse, everything felt fine. So I decided, yeah, this weekend we're going to go up the cabin and I'll ride up on horseback, which I did with no discomfort. It's a positive event in your life and allows you to continue the lifestyle that you've lived before with no restrictions. And you can't ask for anything better than that.
Okay, the next indication that I'll talk about is functional neurosurgery. Functional neurosurgery is used to treat things like Parkinson, epilepsy, essential tremor, neuropathic pain, and so on and so on. This is what is classified as functional brain diseases, okay? And this is the first point that we started to treat. The reason we selected it is because this is being treated by treating a very deep inside the brain point. So if you go in with surgical tools, you'll do significant damage, okay? It's a huge problem. And the question was, okay, could we, without opening the skull, without craniotomy, could we treat accurately and achieve the desired result? So the main issue in this, when you think about skull is highly non-uniform, both from bone density and thickness. Here you could see a fusion. The green is a CT image, all the rest is MR. And we are trying to treat a point here, deep in a gland that is called thalamus inside the brain, non-invasively. The patient is fully awake, and is being treated. The whole procedure takes about 3 hours from beginning to end. And the unique part is, this is one of the indications where you have black to white transfer, meaning you treat a patient that has a significant movement disorder, like trembling of the hand and so on. And when this patient is leaving the table, he has nothing. Okay? So this is the case, 3 hours later. So this is how it looks. Hopefully it will work now. Yeah, it does. So this is animation. The patient is awake. His head, the upper part, is inside a 1,000 element transmitter. Each one of them is independently controlled to overcome the focusing. And then acoustic beam, which is, by the way, completely corrupted and using the skull as a corrective element, is being transmitted. Accuracy is sub-millimeter, okay? Something like 0.7 millimeter in accuracy. Okay, this is how the treatment looks. So at the end of the treatment, this image was taken along this line. So this is a head, the top of the skull, back, and we are treating here inside the thalamus this point, which is this. So we are destroying a point which is about 4 millimeter sphere, a tiny point deep inside the brain. How it works? Think about switchboard for a second that is transmitting signals, erroneous signals that are going to the cortex and back. We are cutting the wire, really cutting the wire, and this stops tremor. So the next one will be...
For Tony Lightfoot, just trying to enjoy a muffin and coffee is a major challenge. He's had essential tremor disorder for more than 10 years.
Quality of life has really taken a nosedive. And eating, my wife often has to feed me with a spoon, especially the last bit in the plate.
But that could all change today, as Tony is the 5th patient at Sunnybrook Health Sciences Center to undergo a groundbreaking new procedure. Doctors will be operating deep inside his brain without making any incisions. Dr. Michael Schwartz is leading the study on this new scalpel-free surgery for patients with essential tremor, which is the most common movement disorder.
The procedure that we do is MR-guided focused ultrasound. And we direct the focus to the target that we would like to ablate. That means making a small hole in the brain to damage the brain, in fact, in one area, to interrupt a circuit that's bad for the patient, and in this case is causing tremor.
Before the treatment begins, doctors do a final tremor assessment, where Tony can't even hold a glass of water. He's also asked to copy the swirl on the left. This image shows his attempts on the right. After his head is shaved, Tony is fitted with a frame which is then placed inside a special helmet-like device. It was manufactured by InSightec, based on research of scientists at Sunnybrook and in Boston, and helps guide the surgical team with the help of MRI images. Tony stays awake so surgeons can test his progress between each ablation or zap to the brain. You can visibly see how over the course of the procedure, his hand becomes progressively more stable. Doctors are only able to treat one side and focus on the dominant hand to help improve each patient's quality of life. So far, Dr. Schwartz says every patient has shown improvement.
So we're very impressed with the efficacy of the procedure. So far, it's been perfectly safe, and we look forward to using it for other applications as well.
That may include cancers and tumors of the breast, bone, head, neck, and rectum, as well as facial pain. In addition to no incisions and no general anesthetic, patients go home within 1 day and return to activities of daily living almost immediately. Frank Winnicott had the procedure in the fall and says it's made a world of difference.
Being able to feel comfortable in company. I play bridge. I like to hold my cards. I like to deal them properly. It's nice.
After several hours, Tony is brought out for his post-procedure assessment, where the effect is crystal clear.
When's the last time you could do that?
More than 10 years ago.
Yeah, I'm happy, he's happy. It was a good thing today.
Studies on the MR-guided focused ultrasound will be ongoing, but so far, this trial suggests that surgery without scalpels is a cut above. With Sunnyview, I'm Monica Mattis.
Okay, this is a company, about 130 people, about 100 of them in Israel, the rest are spread globally. And you could see that about 27% of them are Technion graduates. So this is about it. Okay, thanks.